Speaking of wiser, it's been 4 years. We're a lot older. We're a lot wiser.
Yeah,
And Gonsar, you've gotten even more beautiful in the last 4 years. As they say,
talking yourself. You're just paying attention to your side of the screen.
a whole snack. Nah, 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 nah. You guys are in for a treat. You guys not only get to hear all of Yunte's brilliant insights, but you get to see the beautiful, beautiful face behind it all. So I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad. I'm hoping that see the beautiful, beautiful face behind it all. So I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad. I'm hoping that this turns out.
Oh, I mean, let's get down to it. I think when we first started AROK, yeah, it was just you, Lekshin, and I were just talking about stuff going on in the world, and yeah, we're really just trying to grow AROK because at our height we had 1,600 listeners. So thank you all, if a lot of you are returning, and thank you for being patient with us while we, you know, took the time and took the energy to, get ready to get big again. So yeah, thank you all. Um, so first things first, Wangjor, have you been paying attention to what happened in Baltimore?
I heard about this giant freighter that ran into what was the name of the bridge? It's Key Bridge, right?
The Francis Scott Key Bridge in
Francis Scott.
Baltimore, because there's also a Francis Scott Key Bridge in Georgetown, but that connects to Arlington, Virginia, and Georgetown, DC.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think I've driven by it maybe once or twice. I know that you have as well.
Uh,
Um,
you're talking about the one that collapsed, right? The
the one
Baltimore.
that collapsed. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there
Um,
multiple times. Yeah, I've gone over it. Yeah.
yeah, I know they're conducting some investigation to see exactly what happened, but it must be kind of. I don't know if you've driven by the area yet. Have you seen kind of what the bridge looks like now?
No, no, it's probably like from where I am in Northern Virginia, it's probably like a good 45 minutes to an hour. But it's a very important bridge because part of 9695, which is the highway that, 95 is the highway that straddles the entire eastern coast of the east coast of the United States. And part of it, that bridge was a part of that long highway. So, if you travel from DC to New York City, you have or Boston, you have to take that bridge. So it's a very important bridge. And yeah, it's a lot of I think I've read somewhere it was 11. I don't know if it's said 11 million people drive over that bridge a year or per month, but a lot of people, that's a very, busy bridge, and a lot of people and a lot of people's commutes have been screwed over. And also, get this, I don't mean to, I know I've been talking a while, but we were talking about this the other day, the importance of the key bridge, this bridge that collapsed in Baltimore. And I don't know if we should we play a clip of the video at some point, or
Sure. Yeah. Still.
change. Yeah, basically, but I didn't know this. It's apparently one of the only um, bridges that you can transport hazardous materials over, like hazardous materials. Like I guess radioactive stuff. That's the only bridge you can carry it. Try transport those kind of items over. So that is it's very significant because you can't do it on through any of the other bridges in around Baltimore. So
Yeah. I know that besides that, there's like huge economic impact of that. There's obviously a lot of businesses that are going to be affected by that. A lot of obviously
yeah,
commuters that are not going to be
Baltimore
affected.
Harbor
Yeah.
is one of the most, probably one of the busiest, probably the busiest harbors, probably the busiest harbor on the East Coast. Honestly, it's a lot of trade that goes on.
Okay, I wouldn't know. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh man, but yeah, like the ship, first of all, was it a freighter or a frigate? The ship that hit. the
Uh,
ship, but
I think it's the freighter, right? I think it's a freighter. It's not a frigate.
a frigate is a battleship, a warship,
Battleship, yeah,
right?
and it's called a what is it? What is it? Person that navigates it? It's a pilot, right, of some sorts.
A maritime pilot. I found this out. I thought it was captain or something. It's called, the official title is a maritime pilot.
Yeah, man. Imagine being the maritime pilot in charge of that. You must
Dude,
feel terrible, you know. But
no, no.
yeah, I
And
think there's a difference.
none of the sailors or people on board perished. I don't think. I think it was just the people on the bridge.
Okay,
Very
okay.
tragic story. You know, they're all construction workers. A lot of them were like the breadwinners of their family. If you read the stories, I read a couple of articles on them. You know,
Yeah, imagine like having a really shitty day at work, and next thing you know, the bridge you're driving on.
it falls really fast, and I want to share the screen right now. Hold on. Let me know if you can. Let me know if you can see it. Here we go. Do you see it?
Yeah, I don't see like it hitting it, but I see the bridge falling down.
Um,
And
SMH, man. Yeah, that's, and like just going back to the roller coaster thing I was getting at. Like, as someone who hates roller coasters, if I was on that bridge and even if I survived, I don't think I would. I think I would just be so traumatized. I don't see myself ever getting inside a car, much less traveling over a bridge ever again. Because that's like, no, that's, just how I think about it. Like, you're on the, I've been over that bridge too. That bridge is actually the key bridge. Maybe to most people, I'm sure if you get used to driving over it, but the few times that I've driven to New York from here in DC, um, taking 95 straight, that bridge is pretty terrifying. I think that's the bridge my dad actually got his phobia of driving along highways, because I know some years ago he got really startled by driving over some bridge on the way to New York, and I think it was that bridge or the one in
mm,
Delaware thing. But anyways, just think about it, like that, how fast it fell, and you're on that bridge. That's just putting myself into that perspective is just terrifying, man. Terrifying.
yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of civil lawsuits coming.
Oh
Also,
yeah.
like you mentioned, people that are going to be like, even if you did survive, a lot of people are probably going to be traumatized for years. You know, so there are a lot of civil lawsuits, I think, coming on the way of the company that owns the ship. So I think that's going to
Yeah.
be a huge loss. Huge loss.
I think the one guy that survived, um, the oh no, two guys survived. It was one guy was in serious condition. The other guy was, I think he walked away without a scratch at all. He didn't even need to stay in the hospital, which I thought
Mm,
was pretty miraculous. That guy's has to have some kind of traumatic PTSD from that, man. He has to, because just think about it, just like falling that many feet, the entire bridge collapsing. That's just so terrifying to think about, man.
mhm.
But yeah, yeah. Yeah, so officially it was the cause of the collapse was an allision by the freighter with the one of the pillars of the bridge. And I'm gonna test your knowledge. It's testing my knowledge too. What's the difference between a collision and an allision? Because I didn't know this either before.
I think collision is when two moving objects, kind of collide. Obviously, I'm using the definition word in the definition, but two moving objects kind of run into each other. And allision is one moving object, hitting into a non-moving object. That's an allision, correct?
Yes, yes. And a collision is two moving objects colliding with one another. An allision is when a moving object hits
Allied.
inanimate or stagnant object. I thought that was very impressive and interesting to know. Yeah, learned a lot of things. Maritime pilot, freighter, frigate difference, allision, collision. But yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, you said you watched Dune Part 2 recently, right?
Dune 2 has been out. I saw Dune 2 maybe a couple of weeks ago now.
Hmm.
I didn't read any of the books, and I haven't really dived too much deeper into the lore aside from what's shown in the movies.
Hmm.
But I do know that I liked the second movie a lot. I thought it was really, really good. Um, my favorite character is that one guy that I keep forgetting his name, but he's like the head of the Fremen.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah, he was leader of the that wild pack that they
No,
ran into.
you're talking about the really religious guy from, they say he's from the
Really, really-
south or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. Is he
Yeah.
from the south?
He's from the south, and he's just constantly Lisa Al Gaib or something. He's constantly calling Paul Atreides Lisa, or yeah, Paul Atreides Lisa Al Gaib or something like that, right?
Yeah, he's like the head of the kind of the indigenous group, right? And
Yeah,
I think he's hilarious throughout the entire show. Just kind of his faith in kind of the male like the main protagonist. I thought it was
yeah,
really charming, and I like that movie a lot. Zendaya always amazing. Timothée Chalamet, he's really good too.
yeah.
Did you have a favorite moment or like a favorite character from that movie?
Um, yeah, I watched it like 2 weeks ago. Uh, I think my favorite moment, or can't really call it my favorite moment, the most interesting moment to me was probably when that character dynamic shift, personality shift that Paul's mom exhibited after she took that
Oh, when
potion.
she drank that blue juice.
Yeah, she drank the blue juice, and she was unrecognizable because, all right, spoiler alert for everybody. Oh yeah, I should have said this right before you started talking about Dune. Yeah, everybody, if you haven't watched Dune Part Two, a little late now, but spoiler alert, the spoilers are probably going to get a lot worse as we continue this conversation. So if you haven't watched the movie, then don't listen any further, or
Now
at
keep
least
listening. Keep
skip,
listening.
keep listening, but skip ahead until we're done. Um, anyways, I thought it was very interesting how just her, personality shift and change in character after she takes the juice. You can definitely see her as like her Benny Gesserit. The Benny Gesserit, if you those of you who don't know, in Dune, there's like these race of witches, and what they're called witches, they're more like sorcerers. And Paul's mom is one of those, and highly recommend you guys watch it. But yeah, you want to do a 1 minute movie recap of Dune, Wangjor? Test me out.
Uh, yeah, sure. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay. All
All
right.
right,
Let me start a little time.
start the timer. Yeah.
All right. One, two, three, go.
All right. So Dune, it takes place on this planet called Arrakis, and Arrakis is a desert planet, and it's ruled by this family called the Atreides. And the Atreides have come from a different planet. They were sent there by the Emperor of the entire universe in this universe, and to basically rule it. And there's already an indigenous desert, like nomadic people called the Fremen who live there, and they all traded this really lucrative like, yeah, resource called spice. It's like in the sand and everything in the desert. And there's giant sandworms in this universe too that the Fremen like ride and stuff. Anyways, going back to the ruling family, the House of Atreides. That's where our main character Paul, Timothy Chalamet's family in this universe, and he has his father who's the king, and his mother who's, like we talked about, is the witch, the Bene Gesserit, the sorcerer. Basically, eventually the Harkonnen is a rival family, and they are actually sent by the emperor to kill, and because they basically usurp rule of Arrakis from the Atreides family. They do so. They kill Paul's dad, Leto, and then Paul and his mom are fleeing to exile, move into with the Fremen, and then Paul becomes kind of like this very enigmatic leader.
Okay.
All right.
1 minute, 28 seconds. That's
Damn
a
it.
lot. Okay.
All right, let's see how you do. I'll set the timer.
All right, man.
Just want to see. See, the only reason I let you go first was because I know that you would you do a lot better at this than I would.
I mean, I also get the benefit of listening to you and then getting time to think about it. Okay,
5 seconds.
I'm ready.
3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, this is set in future, like tens of thousands of years from currently. And people have settled everywhere in the universe. And there's this one planet specifically that has this really, really, really extremely valuable resource. And this story is basically based around people fighting for the control of that planet because whoever has control of the planet has a resource. And there's this one emperor who rules over all of the universe. And they assign one family to take over, then they assign another family to take over. And the story essentially boils down to those two families' conflict over control of that land. And there's also these indigenous group of people that live on that planet that are also part of kind of the conflict. At the end of the movie of Dune 1, what happens is the second family that the Emperor assigns gets kind of almost slaughtered to death, and the main character, who's the future reigner king, gets kind of exiled and now has to work with the indigenous group to kind of come back and gain control of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think that's the first movie.
Yeah, dude, a minute and 3 seconds. Perfect.
Yeah, I was close. So close.
No, way closer than I was. The best. Like a lot of people have been really hard on it because they think it didn't follow the books or the originals very closely. But I mean, that's you as for most books, it's almost impossible to follow the exact storyline. In the movie adaptation of most books, it's almost near impossible to follow every single scene and every single adaptation, scene for scene or word for word or whatever. It's impossible. So for what it's worth, I thought it was one of the best science fiction films I've ever seen, actually. Like the sandworms, like how he tames the sandworm, and just the especially like the battle scenes, in the arena. Remember?
Above Avatar?
Oh, Avatar too. Yeah, Avatar was
Above Avatar? Where is that? Better or the same ground as Avatar?
Oh no. Okay, no, Avatar was a little bit better. The Way of Water, I like that more. Yeah.
Both really, really long sequels.
Really
But
long
yeah,
movie,
I
yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah. I kind of yeah. I mean, what did you think? Did you think it was
I thought the second movie was really good. I think that only thing, like I said, was it was really, really long, but at the same time, I actually enjoyed the fact that it was long. I kind of wish it was like a TV show.
Yeah.
Therefore, that way they can kind of come out with more content. And I love the anticipation of, like, I used to be annoyed by it, but I love like those weekly episodes of really, really good shows. That's just something that you and your friends can kind of get together and like just kind of set time around, just hang out and watch it.
Yeah.
But no, the movie was obviously really, really good. But I think if it was in the TV show form, I think it would have also been really good and a good way to kind of get more details of the book kind of into the Dune lore. But the movie is well done. I think it has one of the highest scores around Tomatoes. So no, I'm not alone. I don't think we're alone in saying that it was really good.
I'm still waiting on Godzilla versus Kong though.
Yeah, I've seen some of the trailers and it looks really, really good. I think
Yeah.
Cinema's making a comeback, so
Yeah, man.
we'll have to see.
Those of you who don't know, lifelong Godzilla fan here.
Okay, I got a question, man. Godzilla versus King
throw
Kong.
all the Godzilla trivia at me, bro. Godzilla.
No. My question is Godzilla versus King Kong. Who wins?
Oh, oh, come on, Godzilla. It's got radioactive
Your
breath.
reasoning.
And
Radioactive
I
breath.
mean, and the only reason I say that is because King Kong's size is not consistent in all the Godzilla's size. Like, he's a little bit bigger, since the 1954 original. He's gone up and down a little bit in size, but for most part, he's pretty much above 250 meters tall, 600 or more feet tall. King Kong, if you watch the original 1933 film, the guy is not more he's ever been before this, MonsterVerse adaptation. I don't think he's ever been more than 100 feet tall, like in any of the previous adaptations. Like, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know if I don't know. I have to give it to Godzilla, man. Like, really, King Kong's just a giant ape,
Nah,
and he
you're
got
wrong.
his butt handled him by T-Rexes, by those skull crawlers in Skull Island. I mean, he ended up winning, but it was a
Think
lot.
about it, man. Think about it. Think about it. It's just let me disagree with you and let me explain to you reasons why.
Yeah.
Size, I'll give you that. Godzilla's taller, probably stronger. The laser breath, Godzilla got that. That's cool.
Hmm.
But uh, King Kong has opposable fingers. King
Yes.
Kong has an intelligence that lizards don't have. Give him like a jujitsu like a regime. Put him under like 6 months of heavy training. Um, and he can, I don't know, tap him out. Obviously, he's quick, he's versatile, and even with the size, he can he's more able to kind of maneuver around. What's his name? Godzilla. See, I
Yeah.
forgot his name. So the laser breath, I think, obviously is an issue, but there also you have to think about the fact that it takes some time to charge, and you can do like the
Yeah.
little bob and weave, teach
Well,
bob and weave, zigzag, dodge it.
but Godzilla's tail, it's got a lot of power and it's very versatile. And also, if King Kong, even if he has jujitsu, training, maybe he could get Godzilla underneath the legs. Yeah, Godzilla isn't that dexterous. Yeah, that's
Uh,
true. That's true. He's not very flexible. He's not very dexterous. He's not fast at all, unless he's in the water. But he's got a lot of natural defenses. He's got his spines and everything. He's got those fangs. He's got his natural set of, dinosaur fangs. And I
Humans
mean,
have backbones too, though, and in MMA, even the bigger guys always gets tapped out.
the main reason I say Godzilla is because King Kong. Before, I mean, if you're all right, so you're just to be sure, you're talking about the Godzilla and the King Kong in this MonsterVerse in this universe, right? The current
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean I don't know. Yeah, God, King Kong is very fast, agile. I don't know, but
Opposable fingers.
what if Godzilla goes to the sea? Then King Kong's going to drown. You know,
Then he won't go to the sea. Boy, he's smart. Like what? Nah, he won't go to the sea. He'll just chill. I guess he
like what if
was.
he's really into? He's like trying to get Godzilla in the omoplata. Is that the jujitsu move omoplata where you have him in a chokehold and then the legs wrapped around or something.
Yeah,
Anyways, he's like really into just tapping Godzilla, and then Godzilla just flees into the sea. I don't know, but
he'll just let go and let him go into the sea, and then wait till he comes out because he's. I know Godzilla can go into the sea, but he has to come out at some point, right?
I don't know.
Either way,
I honestly just said Godzilla because I will always be diehard Godzilla fan. I will always because I was asked this kid as I was asked this question back in elementary school when I was known for being a dinosaur fanatic and Godzilla fanatic. And every time somebody asks me something like Godzilla versus King Kong, who wins? I always say Godzilla. So this is me being consistent with my answering for 25 years.
but does what I say make sense though? You really do you
No,
really
no,
think?
it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm still going to say Godzilla. I'm just saying Godzilla because I will always be Godzilla's fan, not King Kong.
I'll stand by it though. Uh, uh, shit.
But yeah, Godzilla King versus Kong. That's coming up in May, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah. A completely diverted our topic.
Talking
King
about
Kong versus Godzilla.
jujitsu and yeah, no, so
Um,
but yeah, I do like Godzilla's coming out and then yeah. Any I mean any TV shows you've been into recently? And or books? You've been reading a lot. I know we've both been, really big into reading very recently. TV shows or
yeah, yeah. I'll start with TV shows. Yeah, I've been watching Abbott Elementary. And I've been watching Shogun. They're both shows
Oh,
on Hulu. They're both really, really good. Different ways. Books. Right now, my most recent purchase has been Burn Book. It's by Kara Swisher. It's about kind of the people involved in the tech world and how schemy and kind of muddy their hands are.
oh
All
yeah.
their different exploits. But that's me. How about you, man?
I think I'm right. Starting with TV shows, I've been watching a lot of Suits. I don't know, it's that legal drama.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
I think it really just I know it's from what people say in the forums and like Reddit and stuff, seems like it's not very accurate in terms of like actual excuse me, legal like experiences and like experiences in the legal industry. But from what I yeah, that's from what I heard. But I like it. I just like how everything's interconnected and all the character developments and the relationships and yeah, and I like the characters, just the cast in general. I think it's just
Yeah.
everybody works really well together. And those of you who don't know, Suits is where the current Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, one of the I think she's one of the duchesses, but they left the royal family, so I don't know what her official title is. But that's Suits is where she got her start. If you don't know which TV show that is, and
Um,
books. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you
mhm.
gonna say something?
Oh, books. Yeah, books.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't want to cut you off, but yeah, books. Um, well, I've been reading this bu- the book of which I watched a movie adaptation as a as a child. This those of you guys you've seen the movie Jaws, right?
Yep.
So Jaws was actually based on a book about a shark attack by and the author's name was Peter Benchley. And my dad was actually the one who got me pretty familiar with his work as a kid. Peter Benchley, yeah, he wrote the book that Jaws was based on, and it was about like a shark attack. It's actually based on a shark attack in New Jersey, like 100 and some years ago. It's actually a very famous, and you can actually still go to that site, and there's like graffiti all the wall, like shark art all over that area. It's like underneath this, it's a little pond. It's like a tiny pond where a shark attack happened. Like a couple of teenage boys were killed in New Jersey by a bull shark that swam from the ocean. Get this, from the ocean, and it ventured through a river, and it got into this small pond. Can you believe how terrifying that must have been? Like because bull sharks, if you didn't know, I'll tell you, give a little bit of I know we're supposed to be talking about books, I'll get to that, but bull sharks now we're talking are unique because they can survive in both freshwater and saltwater. So they can venture in between the ocean to rivers and from rivers to lakes, freshwater lakes, no problem. So this bull shark got into this small pond where that's where a lot of families would go swimming and stuff and killed a lot of people, a lot of teenagers. Just one bull shark. And then that's what the movie Jaws was based on. If I was watching some videos on YouTube, you can actually go to that site. You can take a kayak to that site where those deaths happen, and it's like shark graffiti. Like people drew shark graffiti all around it. It's actually kind of interesting. I mean, rest in peace to those victims. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that's it. I mean, do you want to actually search up Jaws original attack, like the original attack, or like the what Jaws was based on, or like New Jersey? You know what? New Jersey Jaws, New Jersey attack, original attack. Yeah. And or like yeah, or the original attack, or like what it's based on. The New Jersey, I think it was 19. Yeah, there. The second one. It's 1916 New Jersey. Yeah, there we go. 5 victims, 1 rogue shark. The shark attacks that were the inspiration for Jaws. In 1916, a great white shark attacked. Was it a great white shark? Everywhere when I read it, they all said it was a bull shark, but because a great white shark can't survive that much inland. Yeah. But yeah, basically the book I'm reading, it's actually we just totally talked to divert our attention to sharks for a moment, and Jaws. The book I'm reading is by the same author who wrote Jaws, but it's actually a science fiction thriller. So it's the book and the movie are called Creature. Peter full title is Peter Benchley's Creature. 1990. I think the movie came out in 1998. I watched it when I was a kid, and I was totally hooked. I loved it. As a kid, I was like into dinosaurs and like monsters and that kind of stuff. So I loved the movie, and now I'm reading the book. It's a lot more elaborate. Elaborates a lot more on the details. And I'll give a brief summary without spilling too many details. Some marine biologists come across a weapon, kind of like this biological weapon that was left behind during World War II, and turns out the biological weapon is a monster. And I'm not going to tell you what the monster is, but it's pretty cool.
Frankenstein?
Interesting. No, it's a sea monster, but it's a really good book, and it's just something. Because I actually came across the movie again after having not watched it for like 10 years, on just randomly on YouTube, and I watched it, and I was like, yo, let me see let me see what the full story is in the books, and it's really I recommend it. So far, it's pretty good and well written. Learned a lot of things. Yeah. And I'm also going back to books. I don't know if you do this. I have a tendency, because that's the main book I've been focusing my attention on. I'm reading at least 5 or 6 other books at the same time. I do have that bad habit, and I know a lot of people do. But when I read, I'm reading a lot of books at the same time. So I'm also reading, what was it? Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy.
Yep.
We've been talking about that a lot.
Mhm.
It's a Western.
I recently saw No Country for Old Men, which is based on books, right?
That's the only one of sorry to cut you off, but that's the only one of Cormac McCarthy who wrote both No Country for Old Men and Blood Meridian. No Country for Old Men is the only film adaptation of his books, but so many people have been trying to make film adaptation of his books, but nobody can do it because the way, I don't know if you noticed, but the way he writes is so distinctive. It's very kind of like archaic, and it's actually really hard to read, but I think it makes you smarter if you can decipher what's being said. It's kind of like reading the Bible, but except a lot more gory and a lot more murder and bloodshed. Western, and I'm also reading crime. I've been reading a little bit of Crime and Punishment, which you gifted me, by Leo Tolstoy, right?
No, Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky, what the heck? Yeah. I haven't read it for a while. Yeah, it's by Dostoevsky, the famous Dostoevsky, brilliant philosopher, and
It's one of the most famous piece of literature out there, man. So that's amazing.
That should be, yeah, you're right. That should be my main read, not stupid sea monsters. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting to you, man. I mean, that's interesting to me just because I didn't know that Jaws was based off of. First of all, I didn't know sharks could survive in ponds. So what the fuck,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm not actually saying it was. It doesn't matter. At least we're reading books, because nowadays, I don't know about you, but I'm barely seeing anybody read books. And I was actually listening to another podcast, and this college professor saying a lot more and more college undergrads are entering college literally without ever really actually reading a book, like actually reading a book. Like most people, like they've never read a real book in their lives.
There's
So just the fact that we're reading and we're talking, we actually, that's one of our hobbies. We're ahead of the curve. So that's I'm trying to give us some inspiration there.
Well, yeah, I think there's a study somewhere out. I think there's a professor in Stanford that did a recent like conducted a study. There's a
Hmm.
direct correlation, so that doesn't mean causation, correlation between since 2012, the teenagers from 2012 to 2024, there was a sharp increase, like a continuing growing increase in people who, in teenagers and young adults who were dissatisfied with where they were.
Hmm.
Also, another one of the questions was finding meaning in your life, and the correlation, the timing corresponds exactly with like when iPhones started getting involved in kids' lives, right? And these days, attention is a huge commodity. So, and it's been delivered in just like these short bursts, and this is something that I'm sure everybody that's listening knows. Um, but that's, I think, one of the big reasons why, relating back to what you were talking about, the podcast you were listening to. I think people don't read books. I think when I first started like really getting into reading a couple years ago,
Hmm.
I'd read one page and then like my attention would go somewhere else. Visibly, I think I timed myself one time, like in 30 minutes, I think I read like 4 or 5 pages, which is crazy because I was like focused on solely reading, but my attention was just kind of like being diverted. And then at the end of time, I realized like, oh, I've only read 4 pages. And it takes a while for, I think for me, it took a while for me to kind of get back my attention span. But
Hmm.
these kids were like grown up with iPhones and like within their faces, they don't even know that's an issue. That's the norm for them, right? Like these short hits of dopamine that you get from all these TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, whatever it is. You don't get that same kind of like instant dopamine rush from these books because there's a buildup. You gotta have patience, and that's just kind of the resiliency, like mental resiliency that I feel like people who didn't have iPhones were able to develop. I think the young adults had these days don't really have that, and that's also led to a huge rise in depression and kind of solitude amongst younger generations. And I've noticed that too. Like when I'm on my phone a lot, when I'm on Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah.
even though you're just semi connected with people, there's also like you also do spend less time with other people if you're on your phone. So it's
Yeah.
obviously this is not news. This is not new news, but I don't know. I thought that was just an interesting thing that I discovered recently. What are your thoughts on kind of the role of technology in the fact that people don't read as much recently? I think you think there's a relationship between social media? You think, yeah. What do you think?
Well, of all the debates I've heard about, social media, the correlation between reading and the impact of social media on reading, besides that video I saw, that podcast I listened to of that college university professor talking about how a lot more and more students are coming into college, into undergrad, without ever really having read a book, in their lives, which is actually kind of astonishing. Yeah, I do. I will say I'm not very shocked by the stats of that study you mentioned. I'm not surprised at all that social media and the rise of the iPhone has correlated with these less and less people reading as much. It makes sense. I Do I think? I mean, social media. Do I think social media specifically affects reading? Can't really say. Like, there's social media sites that actually foster or bolster people's reading, and like actually help incentivize them to read. Like, this is, I don't know, are you familiar with Goodreads?
I'm familiar. I don't know if I'm active. I have an account, but I don't think I use
I
it.
mean, I will tell you this. All right. I don't know because I don't know whether or not Goodreads is classified as a social media site, but I will say Goodreads kind of rekindled my interest in reading as a hobby. Instead of going to the gym as much, I started taking up reading as a hobby again, because the main focus is to basically track what people have, what you're reading, and what other, you can also see what other people are reading, how many books they've read, what they're reading, how you can literally count which page, whether have read a book, currently reading a book, or want to read a book. Those are the categories you can select and create like lists based on, and you can, the books you're currently reading, you can click the exact. That's actually how I've been keeping tabs on all the books I've been reading through Goodreads. So, I mean, if Goodreads, I mean, do I think, social media sites such as Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, of course they have an impact. Of course they're taking people away from reading, because when you're on those social media sites, it's time you spend on those social media sites. It's time you're not spending reading. So it definitely, those are a big impact. But do I think social media in general? No, because yeah, let me actually confirm whether or not it's considered a social media site or not. I think it is. Yeah, it's a American social cataloging website. So yeah, you can add people, you can send people messages and stuff. Yeah, it is a social media. And so yeah, do I think social media in general has contributed to people's less and less people, reading less and less? I can't really say that, because for me, I this social media site, Goodreads, actually helped rekindle my passion and my hobby of reading. So, to answer your question, no, I don't. I do not think social media in general. Do I think certain social medias sites are affecting people's, making people read less and less, dumbing people down? Yes, but yeah. I know I took the
Got
scenic route to saying yes or no. I took like the scenic route, just using a lot of words. Took the scenic route to getting to my answer finally, but that is, yeah.
What do you say? What do you say about the fact that social media and the way kind of entertainment is digested nowadays by our young adults? Don't you think the way they are rewarded with these quick, short bursts of dopamine, which I mentioned earlier, that's something that our current social media or current forms of entertainment kind of brings out? Would you say that that plays a part in people not being like kind of unconditioned to read because it is kind of a longer burn, right? Would you agree with, first of all, would you agree that with books it takes a longer time to get that kind of feeling of satisfaction or the dopamine hit?
Yes, but I think the dopamine rush or dopamine feeling you get from reading books, I mean, yeah, it definitely requires, it's more time consuming, requires a lot more focus, but I think it's far more, um I think it's far more rewarding, because when I know I've actually set, I don't know about you, but this is actually how I've been recording my reading besides Goodreads. I actually put in my agenda, my planner. I'm going to read an hour today, because I've noticed there's a flow state for me personally, there's a flow state that I can reach when I'm reading. And I'd say it's probably around when I've been reading for like 10 minutes, undistracted, just focused on each page. Um, I'd say that that dopamine rush I get after a while is far more rewarding than even working out. It's better. It's because you're feeding your brain in knowledge. You're working out your brain. It's mental exercise, and I feel like there's no other feeling like that personally.
Yeah, well, if you're reading Cormac McCarthy and Dostoevsky, then yeah, those are really, really good workouts for sure.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So let's say that so you would say you do not believe that the short attention span that social media plays a role. Would you, okay, let me another statement that I made and I assume that you agreed with. Let me just clarify with you. Would you agree that social media and the entertainment these days kind of conditions us to be more I guess conditions us to more of these short form entertainment? Would you say yes to that?
Like condition us to like seek out short-term pleasures, you mean?
Yeah, like these quick bursts.
I hear that being discussed all the time these days. Like,
Okay, so would you say that this condition, these kids being conditioned to that and being used to that form
Yeah.
has an impact in whether or not they're gonna find reading to be satisfactory when they do read it?
Uh, I mean, yeah, read because reading. I mean, it depends because yeah, reading is one of those things you have to just like sit there and really focus and stay still and just concentrate all your attention in front of you for a good amount of time.
Right.
And if you have a short attention span, if you're have a short if you're constantly, having to move on to the next thing right away, you read books and you're next thing you know, you're scrolling, you're reading a few pages from a book for like maybe 2-3 minutes, and then you're on your phone. Then you just you decide to take a break and scroll Facebook or TikTok for the next 30 minutes. I think it's kind of counterintuitive. It's
Sounds
not
like you're agreeing with me. Sounds like you're agreeing. So you're
I,
saying effects of social media
yeah.
conditions us so
I
that
mean,
we're
it
less likely.
depends. Like, like if it's Goodreads or something that's dedicated to cataloging is a social cataloging website for reading books. If it's just to like take a break to like edit which book page you're on that book you're reading. Now, of course, that's a lot different than just screwing around on TikTok for the next 30 minutes after taking a break. I think it depends on the social media. I think it depends on the intentions. I think I don't really know. I feel like, if it could you what you're saying about these short-term pleasures with social media, what if you're addicted to, some other activity? Like, say some people are addicted to cleaning, some people are addicted to walking out, I know, just not addicted, but they just have a they just have a little impulse control and they want to do something else. Yeah, exactly. It's just like a lack of concentration. It's a lack of, um, yes, calibration. I'd say. I guess that'd be a good word to use.
Okay. How many users do you think Goodreads has in the world? I have the number in front of me.
Oh, you
Yeah,
do? I think it was like 50 million, 80 million,
140 million. 140 million people
140 million people on Goodreads.
worldwide.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a pretty significant presence.
amount of Goodreads. Yeah, users. Okay, now guess Facebook users.
It's gotta be 2 billion.
You're on the dot. 2.9 billion.
God damn. Yeah,
You're
I I
2.9 billion.
I can see that. Yeah, because every time you
Uh,
search somebody's name, every single name you search on Facebook, there's at least like 100. Even the most unsuspecting names, you'll find like 100 names under them, 100 user profiles under them.
okay, so since I feel like I'm grilling you because I'm trying to get you on my side, so I'm making my argument, right?
Mhm.
So when you do ratio of Goodreads to Facebook,
Mhm.
4% of users that use Facebook, I guess 2.9 billion converts to 4.6% of Goodreads users. So there's 100 users for every four and a half people that use Goodreads. 100 people are using, I guess, 95 are using Facebook. So would you say that Goodreads is an exception to the rule when it comes to social media, or
Yeah, I
is
mean,
that statistic?
I think my thought process was I was just thinking of social media in general. And I mean, obviously, I was saying, obviously, websites like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I think I was just trying to, I just, because Goodreads is a social media website and it's helped me stay on top of my reading. It's benefited my reading. I think TikTok and those kind of social media, obviously I'm 100%, I'm 5,000% on your side,
Hmm. Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Do you think there's a correlation between like kind of the increasing rise, like the rise in kind of loneliness in the US because of social media? Do you think that that's at all related, or do you think that's just you don't think so?
Yeah, I mean, when you have social media, you already see what people are doing on your phone and your laptop, so there's no reason for you to even step out of your house. So, you
Mm.
know.
And I think also, what do you think? You know, I thought there was an interesting conversation about remote work. You know, obviously, remote work has increased a lot, and ever since COVID, right? And a lot of people, a lot of young professionals, like I work, so I'm a person that works remotely.
Yeah.
And one of the podcasts that I listened to that I mentioned to you before, Pivot, right? There's one of the speakers who speaks about this kind of very very frequently. He's like a professor at NYU. He teaches marketing there. He says that because a lot of remote workers now don't have that same kind of work interaction that they interpersonal interaction that they would in an office,
Yeah.
that also leads to a higher rate of like isolation, right? So I'm a proponent. I think I believe what he's saying, because I do feel that working in an office space, shared office space, is better in terms of, you know, feeling like you're in a community, right? Community rather than you know, kind of a virtual meeting, because it's a significant part of your week, right? Like 40 hours a week that you're spending on a screen, even though you're talking to a person, you still feel there's a form of detachment that you notice. I feel like that I've noticed.
Yes.
Um, but you know, I don't feel any kind of detachment towards you just because you're so gorgeous.
No, I see how it could affect, that isolation and that lack of interpersonal. I think it really, I still think it boils down to the individual. I think some people are
Yeah,
just going to be more disciplined than others, or some people are going to be
yeah,
more resilient, or some people are going to have different, habits or living situations than others, you know,
yeah.
and
I
the
think adults with kids really
yeah,
there's a study that adults with kids highly benefit from kind of a hybrid slash remote work. You know, people with elderly to take care of. But yeah, agreed. Agreed. Depends on the person for sure. But I think young adults. I think people that are recently graduating college, people that, you know, are don't have a family. You know, like me. Yeah, I wish there was kind of middle ground, but obviously working remotely is also, there's a lot of pros to it as well, but there are
yeah,
some cons as well.
cons of the yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, Yudala, I feel like I've hijacked kind of the topic. Is there anything particular you wanted to talk about um in terms of tech or social media or
I mean, not in regards to social media. I mean, I'm really barely on Instagram. I think I have the social media site I use the most now is probably Reddit. And I don't
you know
really,
Reddit? It went. Do you know it went public? You can buy stocks of Reddit as of like last Thursday.
what? I did not know that.
Yeah. It's yeah, man. I made a tiny investment in it, so hopefully it'll work out.
That is news to me. All I've been doing, I've just been going to work and coming home. I don't even watch the news anymore.
Yeah. No, I
Besides,
understand. Yeah. Reddit. Reddit has a lot of daily users, man. I think there's a lot of
yeah, part of the reason I barely watch the news now is because everything, that's how I found out about the Baltimore Bridge. Is like I opened Reddit, and then first 100 posts I see are those videos of the bridge collapsing, and then yeah.
speaking of
So
news. Have you heard of Kate Middleton?
yes, tragic, man, tragic. She's got cancer, and then on top of that, I don't know if you know. I think King Charles also has cancer as well.
Man, yeah.
Cancer is just the worst.
I bet
Absolutely.
the media, yeah, I bet the media feels. I know they were all kind of like asking a lot of questions, being super inquisitive. I
Mhm.
mean, what do you think? Do you think like people in that kind of public figure have a right to a certain type of privacy, or is that something that you kind of
Forfeit?
forego once you
Forfeit?
decide to marry into a royal family? What do you think?
No, just because they're from a prominent place in society, I think everyone's entitled to their own privacy. I think I've never really liked paparazzi. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, if you're in huge movies, and if you if you're if you've married into the royal family of England, I get why people would think you have no rights to privacy and that everything you do should be in the public eye. But no, I think in the end, like, empathy and perspective is everything. I think, if I was in her situation, I would, obviously it would be suffocating. It would be a suffocating existence. I bet.
Yeah.
I don't, cancer. The biggest cause of a big cause of cancer is stress. So I can imagine they're under a lot of duress. The royal family must be under a lot of duress throughout what's been going on. No, but I don't think people pay attention to any other families matters than the royal family. So I can imagine it must be a very suffocating existence. I hope that they can live a peaceful life.
Would you want that kind of life?
No, no. I mean, like the status and the fact that you can't really do anything, and just you always have to have an eye at the back of your head because the royal family. There's a lot of people who love it, a lot of people who hate it as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I kind of, I kind of go the other way, but no, no, I think an optimist would say that they should be able to get that prestige and also have like a certain amount of privacy. But I think when you willingly, you know, become a public figure like she did, like she knew she was what she was getting married into when
Yeah, maybe she
she
didn't
gets
know.
to have all the perks that goes along with being part of a royal family, right? So I
Mhm.
think a lack of privacy and everybody kind of nosing, kind of being nosy is also something that you sign up for once you agree to actually marry marry into the royal family. It's not foreign news that anything that happens to you when not going to be public news, but still it sucks. I wish she had more privacy. I wish the media didn't go after her as much and she wasn't a pariah for a while. But
Yeah.
yeah, and she's also young. She's like 43. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's extremely
She's
early to have.
she also looks really young too.
Yeah. So
Must be under a lot of duress.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, yeah. I don't really know how severe it is at the moment, but
Yeah.
prayers up to the royal family.
Prayers to the victims of the Key Bridge accident, the people of Baltimore, the royal family, and Kate Middleton. Prayers to the world.
Prayers
So
to the world. Yeah, man.
because everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling. Even if you think you're not struggling, it's coming. So yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man, it's getting late.
It's getting late. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we had a good start to our first podcast. What do you think?
I think this was a magnificent return to the AROK legacy. So I think now is the time it's been around for 4 years. Yeah, good discussion, great discussion. Hope you guys learned a little the difference between collision and allision. Hope we didn't hope we didn't ruin Dune for you. Um, hope you learned. Yeah, yeah. Hope you made use of learning what a maritime pilot is, and yeah, hope you learned a lot about sharks today as well. So yeah, we still got. It's crazy. We still have it's been a while since we came out with our last few episodes, so we do have some sharpening to do, but it's only gonna get better from here. So
Yeah,
thank you all for listening. Love you, dog. I'm
love you
out,
too.
bro.
Aro. Love you, Aro.